biting cold of a Colorado winter night enveloped the quiet roads as paramedic Noah Peterson drove home after a grueling shift. The snowflakes danced in the headlights, creating a surreal landscape that felt both beautiful and foreboding. Just as he began to relax, a glint of metal caught his eye. A car overturned on the roadside. His heart raced, adrenaline surging as he slammed on the brakes and jumped out of the vehicle. Noah rushed to the wreckage, the icy air stinging his lungs. Inside, he saw a pregnant woman, Madison Turner, unconscious and slumped over the steering wheel. Panic surged through him, but he quickly regained his composure. "Stay with me, Madison," he murmured, his voice steady as he assessed the situation. He could see her belly, a reminder of the life she carried, and knew he had to act fast. He called for backup while carefully maneuvering her out of the car, his hands trembling slightly from the cold and the urgency of the moment. As he laid her on the ground, he began checking her vitals. "Come on, stay with me," he urged, knowing that every second counted. The distant sound of sirens approaching filled him with a mix of hope and dread. He couldn't let her slip away, not like this. In the emergency room at St. Mary's Hospital, the atmosphere buzzed with urgency. Doctors and nurses moved swiftly, their focused expressions a stark contrast to Noah's still racing heart. As they prepared to treat Madison, she suddenly stirred, her eyes fluttering open. Confusion washed over her face, but when her gaze met Noah's, a flicker of recognition sparked between them. "Noah?" she whispered, her voice barely audible above the chaos. "Yes, it's me," he replied softly, his heart aching at the sight of her vulnerability. "You're safe now." For a fleeting moment, the chaos around them faded, and an unexpected connection formed, a shared understanding born of their brief past. Later, Noah found himself in the hospital cafe, the smell of coffee mingling with the antiseptic air. He was hoping to collect his thoughts when he noticed a man sitting alone, his face etched with worry. He approached cautiously. "Is everything okay?" Noah asked, concern lacing his voice. The man looked up, heavy bags under his eyes revealing sleepless nights. "My wife is in labor," he replied, his voice thick with emotion. "She was in an accident, Madison Turner." The name hit Noah like a punch to the gut. "I just treated her," he replied, astonishment mingling with concern. "She's stable now, but—" "Stable?" Oliver interrupted, the faint glimmer of hope in his eyes dimming. "What do you mean?" "She was fine. She was fine before the crash." Noah felt a pang of sympathy for Oliver, who was clearly struggling to process the chaos of the night. "I think she's going to be okay," Noah reassured him, though doubts gnawed at him. The atmosphere felt charged, as if their lives were intertwined in ways neither man fully understood. In that moment, Noah sensed a deeper connection to Oliver's story than mere coincidence, and the weight of unspoken truths hung heavily in the air. Noah stood in the stark, sterile hallway of St. Mary's Hospital, his heart pounding as he overheard the urgent conversation between Oliver and the doctor. The words, "Madison's situation has worsened," cut through the air like a knife, leaving a chill deeper than the winter night outside. He glanced at Oliver, whose face contorted with despair, eyes wide with fear. The paramedic felt a rush of empathy. Despite their brief encounter, the bond of shared experience was palpable. "Is she going to be okay?" Oliver's voice trembled, breaking Noah from his reverie. The doctor hesitated, his expression grave. "We need to act quickly. We're doing everything we can." Oliver's shoulders slumped, and Noah stepped closer, compelled to offer some semblance of comfort. "I'm Noah. I was the one who brought her in. She's a fighter," he said, hoping to instill some hope amidst the uncertainty. "Thank you for saving her," Oliver mumbled, his gaze fixed on the floor, as if the weight of the moment was too heavy to bear. Later, in the waiting area, Noah found himself face to face with Oliver again. This time, the atmosphere was thick with unspoken truths. Taking a deep breath, Oliver leaned against the wall, his eyes reflecting a mix of anguish and vulnerability. "I don't know how we got here, you know. Madison and I. It's complicated." Noah nodded, sensing the man's conflict. "What do you mean?" Oliver swallowed hard, the words spilling forth. "I found out the baby isn't mine. I don't know how to process that. Madison, she's everything to me, but now..." Noah's heart raced. Memories of his time with Madison flooded back, and the realization hit him like a wave. "You're talking about Madison Turner?" "Yeah. Do you know her?" Oliver's voice was laced with a mix of suspicion and desperation. We had a past," Noah admitted, his voice barely above a whisper. "I didn't know she was pregnant." A heavy silence fell between them, both men grappling with the implications of their shared connection to Madison. Oliver's face twisted with pain and anger. "And now? What? You think you'll swoop in and take my place?" "No, that's not..." Noah started, but Oliver cut him off. "You don't understand. She's my wife. I love her." "Then fight for her," Noah urged, feeling the weight of the situation pressing down on him. "But you need to be honest with her, and with yourself." The tension simmered in the air, a fragile truce hanging between them as the reality of their intertwined lives loomed large. The air outside St. Mary's Hospital was crisp, the biting cold seeping into every layer of clothing. Madison, now sitting in a wheelchair, felt a mix of anxiety and anticipation as she waited for Noah and Oliver to join her. The fluorescent lights of the hospital cast a harsh glow, but she found solace in the fact that she was finally free from the confines of her hospital room. As Noah approached, his familiar silhouette cutting through the haze of the evening, Madison felt a flutter of emotions. "Hey," he greeted softly, his breath visible in the chilly air. "How are you holding up?" "I'm okay, I think," Madison replied, her voice wavering slightly. "It's just a lot to process." She glanced over to Oliver, who was lingering a few steps behind, his eyes clouded with uncertainty. Oliver stepped forward, his expression a mixture of determination and vulnerability. "We need to talk about the baby, about us." He gestured between Madison and Noah, the weight of the conversation palpable. "I want to be there for this child, even if I'm not the biological father." Noah nodded, a sense of relief washing over him. "I want that too. I care about both of you and want to be involved in every way I can." He took a step closer, the tension between them palpable. "But we need to be honest about what this means for all of us." Madison swallowed hard, the truth sitting heavy on her chest. "We need to figure out how this will work. Co-parenting, boundaries, everything. It won't be easy, but I believe we can make it work." Oliver sighed, running a hand through his hair. "I'm willing to try. It's just, I never imagined my life would look like this. I love you, Madison, and I want to support you, but seeing you with him..." He gestured to Noah, his voice trailing off. Noah interjected gently, "I understand it's complicated, but I'm here for the child, and I want to support both of you in any way possible. We're in this together." Madison's heart swelled with hope, yet an undercurrent of fear lingered. "As long as we communicate and set clear boundaries, I think we can navigate this." The three stood in a fragile truce, the cold air swirling around them as they faced an uncertain future. The enormity of their situation loomed large, but in that moment, there was a flicker of understanding. Together, they began to chart a course through the complexities of their lives, each step forward a testament to their shared commitment to the child they would bring into the world. Noah, Oliver, and Madison settled into a small private room in the hospital, the atmosphere thick with unspoken tension. The rumors swirling through the hospital corridors had cast a shadow over their fragile bond, and it was time to confront the implications of those whispers. Noah leaned against the wall, arms crossed, his brow furrowed with concern. "We need to talk about what's been said." He finally broke the silence, his voice steady but laced with urgency. Madison nodded, her expression a mix of fear and determination. "I've heard the rumors too. They make it sound like I've been hiding something, like I'm some kind of fraud." Oliver shifted in his chair, his eyes darting between the two of them. "It's not just about what they think. It's about what we know and what we're willing to face together." "Together," Madison echoed, her voice almost a whisper. "I want this family to be built on honesty. Whatever we've done in the past, it doesn't matter if we're not truthful now." Noah stepped forward, the intensity of his gaze locked onto Oliver's. "If we're going to raise this child, we need to prioritize their well-being above everything else. That means being open about our feelings and our pasts." Oliver took a deep breath, his vulnerability surfacing. "I'm scared, you know. Madison, you and I have built a life together, but this changes everything. I don't want to lose you. And I definitely don't want this child to feel the weight of our mistakes." Madison reached out, placing a hand on Oliver's knee. "You won't lose me. We can figure this out. But we have to do it honestly, or we'll just be pretending." As they spoke, a quiet understanding began to form between them. Noah, feeling the shift in the room, nodded slowly. "Let's agree to communicate openly. I'm here for both of you, and I want to be part of this child's life, but only if we're all on the same page." The three shared a moment of silence, each lost in their thoughts. It was heavy with the weight of the decisions they faced, but also with a flicker of hope. Days turned into weeks, and as the child's birth approached, the bond between Noah and Oliver deepened. They found themselves sharing more than just concerns about Madison's health. They began to strategize how to blend their lives, contemplating what it meant to co-parent in such an unusual situation. "Maybe we should set some ground rules," Noah suggested one evening, as they sat in the hospital's staff lounge, coffee cups in hand. "Like how often I'll be involved and what role I'll play. I don't want to overstep." Oliver nodded, a sense of camaraderie forming. "I appreciate that. It's not easy for me to wrap my head around this, but I want what's best for Madison and the baby. If that means sharing responsibilities, then I'm on board." Their conversation flowed easily, a testament to the evolving dynamic between them. As they shared laughs and ideas about parenting, the sense of connection grew. However, a subtle undercurrent of tension remained, a reminder of their complicated emotional landscape. On the day of Madison's labor, the air was electric with anticipation. Both men stood outside her hospital room, anxiety painted on their faces. Noah shifted on his feet, glancing at Oliver, who was staring at the door as if willing it to open. "Are you ready for this?" Noah asked, trying to lighten the mood. "Ready as I'll ever be," Oliver replied, but there was a tremor in his voice. I want to be there for her, for the baby. I want to make sure we're all okay." Noah placed a reassuring hand on Oliver's shoulder. "We will be. We just have to navigate this together." As the nurse appeared, signaling that it was time, both men felt their hearts race. They exchanged a determined look, silently promising to support Madison and each other, no matter what unfolded in the next few hours. The journey they were on was unprecedented, filled with uncertainty, but also with the potential for love and healing. The hospital room was awash with the bright, sterile light that accompanied the birth of a new life. Madison lay exhausted yet elated, cradling her newborn against her chest. Noah stood beside her, a mixture of awe and protectiveness etched across his face, while Oliver, despite his turmoil, leaned in closer, drawn by the bond of fatherhood that now connected him to the tiny being. The air was thick with unspoken emotions, a shared joy tempered by the weight of unresolved issues that hung like a cloud over them. "Look at her, Noah," Madison whispered, her voice hoarse but filled with warmth. "She's beautiful." "She's perfect," Noah replied, his heart swelling at the sight of the child. "You did an amazing job, Madison." Oliver, caught in a whirlwind of conflicting feelings, forced a smile. "Yeah, you really did. I can't believe she's finally here." But as he glanced at Noah, a flicker of resentment crossed his face, a deep-seated fear of being overshadowed by the man who shared more than just a connection with Madison. In the weeks that followed, the initial joy of the birth began to fade into the complexities of their new reality. Madison found herself overwhelmed, juggling the demands of motherhood while wrestling with the weight of her decisions. Every coo and cry from the baby reminded her of the secrets lurking in the shadows of their lives. Meanwhile, Oliver struggled with feelings of inadequacy, feeling increasingly overshadowed by Noah's natural ease with the child. "Why does he always have to be around?" Oliver snapped one evening, his frustration boiling over as he paced the living room. "Can't we have our family time without him hovering like a shadow?" "Oliver, he's here to help," Madison replied, her voice steady but laced with concern. "He cares about us, about her." "That's just it. He cares too much," Oliver shot back, his fists clenched. "I feel like I'm competing for my own family." Noah, sensing the rising tension, tried to mediate. "I'm just trying to be supportive, Oliver. This isn't easy for any of us." But the conversation spiraled into a heated argument, with emotions flaring and words exchanged that left scars. It was a confrontation that forced them to reckon with the reality of their situation. Then one fateful afternoon, as the sun cast long shadows through the window, everything changed. Oliver, scrolling through his phone, stumbled upon a message from an unknown number. The words struck him like a bolt of lightning. "I know the truth about the baby." His heart raced as dread settled in his stomach. Fearing the worst, he stormed into the living room, where Madison and Noah were sharing a quiet moment. "What's this?" Oliver demanded, holding up his phone, his voice trembling with anger. "Who are you talking to, Madison? What truth?" Madison's face paled, and Noah stepped forward, trying to defuse the situation. "Oliver, wait. Let's talk about this calmly." "Calmly?" Oliver scoffed, his voice rising. "How can I be calm when I feel like I'm losing everything? You two have been keeping secrets from me." The air crackled with tension as the three stood locked in a confrontation, their past decisions forcing them to face the truth of their tangled lives. In that moment, the fragile peace they had built threatened to shatter, and the weight of their choices loomed over them like an impending storm. The tension hung thick in the air after the confrontation, leaving Madison feeling shattered. She sat on the edge of her hospital bed, hands trembling as she faced Noah and Oliver, her heart heavy with the weight of their secrets. "We can't keep doing this," she said, her voice cracking. "These lies will tear us apart. We need to be honest with each other. I won't let anything jeopardize my child's future." Noah and Oliver exchanged glances, the gravity of her words settling in. "You're right," Oliver admitted, his tone weary yet resolute. "But we need to know who's behind this. If someone is trying to undermine us, we have to confront them together." Madison took a deep breath, gathering her thoughts. "It's someone I thought was a friend, a close colleague who felt overshadowed by my success. Jealousy can turn people into monsters." Her eyes glistened with unshed tears as she recalled the betrayal. "I never imagined she would go this far." Determined, they agreed to track down this friend and confront her. The three of them stood united, a fragile but unbreakable bond forming in the face of adversity. They found her sitting at a coffee shop, a self-satisfied smirk on her face when they approached. "You think you can intimidate me?" she scoffed, crossing her arms defiantly. "No," Noah said firmly, stepping forward, "but we need you to understand the consequences of your actions. What you've done could destroy a family. Why would you do this?" She hesitated, the bravado faltering as she glanced away. "Because she didn't appreciate me like I deserved. I was always in her shadow." Madison stepped closer, her voice steady. "You were my friend. I never meant to overshadow you. But this isn't about us anymore. It's about my child. Your jealousy has no place in their life." With their united front, they exposed her plot, revealing the truth to their colleagues and ensuring the friend faced the consequences of her actions. As they walked away from the confrontation, a sense of relief washed over them. With the threat behind them, Madison, Noah, and Oliver began to rebuild their fragile family. They met regularly, discussing their parenting plan and how they could support each other in this unconventional journey. The bond that had formed among them was a testament to their resilience, a blend of love and understanding that transcended their complicated pasts. As they left the hospital together, the first hints of spring emerged, the snow melting away to reveal patches of green. It symbolized their new beginning, a hope for the future. Madison felt lighter, as if the burdens she had carried were finally lifted. "I'm grateful for both of you," she said softly, her heart swelling with gratitude. "Together, we can make this work." Noah smiled, looking at Oliver, who nodded in agreement. "We're in this together," Oliver affirmed, a newfound warmth in his voice. The three walked side by side, ready to embrace the challenges ahead, knowing that love, compassion, and honesty would guide their way.